In this lesson, we're going to be talking about weathering and erosion. So weathering is the breaking down of rock into smaller pieces. And so we have two types of weathering that we can see. We have something called mechanical weathering, and we also have something called chemical weathering. So let's write this down. And you might also see mechanical weathering referred to as physical weathering. So I'll go ahead and write that down as well. Or chemical weathering. Okay, and so for physical weathering, what we see is that the rock is physically being broken down. So it's physically broken up. But while it is being physically broken, the physical characteristics of the rock are staying the same. So it's being physically broken, but it's physically the new smaller bits of rock have the same property as the original bigger rock. And so a couple of ways that we can see physical weathering occurring could be ice wedging, which is where we have liquid water going down into a rock, and then as it freezes, as a characteristic of water is that as it freezes, it increases in size. So when we have water freezing, it breaks the rock apart. Another thing is we can have plant roots going down into a rock, and as our roots reach down and get further into the rock, we have the physical breaking down of the rock. So we can have two examples: ice wedging or plant roots. Okay, and so that is mechanical or physical weathering. The other type of weathering, which is our chemical weathering, is where we have our rock being decaying, or it's breaking down or being decomposed. So we'll write decomposition and what we are ending up with is we are ending up with new physical and chemical properties of our rock. Our new rock doesn't look like our older rock. So we're ending up with new And so, an example of this could be water-dissolving limestone. Okay, and so certain words that we will see to indicate that we have chemical weathering is we're going to see something like reaction, dissolving. So we are ending up with a new product. So that is weathering, which is the breaking down of rock into smaller pieces, and now we need to talk about erosion. And erosion is when our smaller rocks are being transported, so they're being moved from one place to another. So erosion Okay, so there is a difference between weathering and erosion. Weathering is the breaking down, erosion is the transport. And so forces that can cause our weathered materials to be transported could be ice, water, wind, gravity, certain things like that. So forces include water, liquid and frozen. So that can be running water or also frozen water in the form of glaciers. So we've got water, wind, gravity. And the smaller the new rocks that we have that have been weathered, the further they can be transported. Okay, so the final question is, how are humans increasing the rate of erosion or the transport of our weathered materials? And two things that are doing this is we are having more deforestation and urbanization, or the building of buildings, the construction of buildings. So those two things, deforestation and I'm drawing an arrow upward because those two things, deforestation and urbanization, increase the erosion.